Okay, good morning. We are actually not at Bankstown today. We are in Griffith, New South Wales, Western New South Wales, it's probably, I don't know, 600 kilometres or so from Sydney. And the reason we're here is we've just dropped off some passengers that are spending the day out here, and we'll come back and pick them up later. But what I'm going to do now is go for a flight. And we're going to go for a flight out initially to a place called Deniliquin, which is here on the map. So you can see where we are. We're in Griffith. There's Sydney over there. So what's that? It's probably about 257 nautical miles. It took us about an hour and a half, bit under an hour and a half to get here. We're now going to fly from Griffith down to Deniliquin, which is southwest of our current position. And what I want to do is practice some procedures. So I want to practice some One Engine Inoperative, so simulating an engine failure. I want to practice some stalls. So, for example, a stall in the climb with a climb power set. Stalls when we're in a clean position. Maybe some steep turns. So today we're the ones that are going to be doing the random manoeuvring. So what I'll do is I'll do this as VFR. No need to be IFR. We're a very visual day. It's a beautiful day. Blue skies, quite cold, but it's warming up pretty quickly. So engines and everything are already warmed up. We've already flown for an hour and a half. Plane's already been checked, thoroughly pre-flighted. We've just refueled, and so we might get everything ready to go, and we'll come back for the takeoff. Griffith traffic, X-ray 62 is the Diamond DA62, taxis from the GA apron for runway 06 Griffith. One of the things you've got to be really careful of with the Diamonds, in particular with these MT propellers, is stone chips. And when you go to these regional airports, there's a lot of rocks kind of around the runways. You've got to be super careful to not go around loose rocks with a high power setting. So you've really got to get used to kind of building up a little bit of momentum, or using kind of asymmetric thrust to really just not be using too much power and picking up stones. It only takes one airport, one bit of loose gravel, and you can cop a huge amount of damage to your props. And this has got 2 props, so a very costly exercise. Okay, transponder set, air conditioning's off, mixture mags, master map, my checks, zoomed out. Ice protection, we'll put the pitot on once we're on the runway. And radio, we've made our taxi call. We'll make a call entering and backtracking. Griffith traffic, X-ray 62 is entering and backtracking runway 06 Griffith. Oh, my jet shade fell down. Let's just stop here for a minute. And we're just listening to see if anyone makes a call. Approaching Griffith. Got a few birds around. Looks good. Okay, landing light comes on. Fuel pump left, fuel pump right. And pitot heat can also come on. It's quite cold outside. So all on and all on is my flow here. And then I continue across. Stall heat fail, I always get on the ground. And then I continue across. I've got 3 green. I've got my flaps set for takeoff. I've got my rudder trim set. Parking brakes released. I come across here. I've got trim set for takeoff. I've got my fuels fully forward, and my auxiliaries are off. So all my checks are complete there. So we're not using any chart for takeoff here. It's a left circuit, so we're going to depart 06 and basically make a left turn and depart down to the southwest. The weather is clear. Probably only birds are the real threat. We've got no real wind. It's a beautiful day. Ops normal will be to rotate at 78. Gear up once we've got a positive rate, and then we'll just continue out, make our left turn. And if we have any kind of problem at all while we're on the ground, we're going to close both throttles. Before we've rotated, we'll close both throttles, just use the remaining runway. If we've rotated but not yet put the gear up, we'll still close, and we have an engine failure, we'll close both throttles, we'll re-land on the remaining runway, and if we need to, and we're going to overrun, we'll turn the engines off and we'll turn the fuel off. If we've already selected gear up and then we get an engine failure, what we're going to do is we're going to control with our feet with rudder, aileron, make sure autopilot's off, full power, gears up, flaps are up, identify the dead leg, dead engine, verify with the throttle control, and then we're going to switch off the engine master for the dead engine. So because we'll be low to the ground on takeoff, we're not going to muck around. We'll just turn the engine master off. If we're up high, we'll do some fault finding. We'll see that today when I do a simulated engine failure in the climb. Griffith traffic X-ray 62 is rolling runway 06, departure to the southwest. Griffith. Okay, we're ready to go. All clear. Runway's clear. I try not to apply full power. If I've got a long runway, just gradually increase power rather than picking up. There's quite a lot of rocks at that threshold there. All right, we've got full load. We've got good RPM. T's and P's are all in the green. Airspeed's alive, 60 knots cross-checked. And we're looking for 78. Okay, there's 78, rotate. Pitching for the bar, we've got a positive rate, gear up. And then hand back to the throttle.
X-ray go kilo, copy.
Beautiful day here.
30, no reported IFR, traffic observed VFR 8.
300 feet clear of obstacles, we'll get rid of our flap.
Ahead of you, unverified 4,600.
And we've got a positive rate and a
unknown, but appears to be tracking
good
towards
speed.
Narendra, and present heading in the Narendra area, time 27.
Copy, traffic, X-ray.
And 500 feet. Now we'll reduce our power and start our left turn.
Uniform Juliet Alpha, contact me 1
To reduce the amount of max continuous power up here. And we can, landing your taxi lights, pump right, pump left. Sun's in the eyes now. And what we'll do is we'll use flight level change just to guide us. And nav. I'm going to put the autopilot on now, just to give us some capacity to have a chat about a couple of other things. So we've taken off now. I want to just run through our checklist. So gears up, confirm, flaps are up, fuel pumps are off, 1, 2. Climb power set.
At a distance,
alternate air's off and landing and taxi lights are off.
To remain above until clear.
That's our descent checks, so that'll be later. We're passing 2,900 for 8,500. We'll make another radio call.
Uniform Oscar.
Griffith traffic X-ray 62, Diamond DA62, overhead the field 3,000 and on climb 8,500 and departing to the southwest. Griffith.
Before descending into Mildura, system estimates.
All right, so let's have a chat about a couple of things. So normally when I climb, I'll climb at the recommended cruise climb, 96 knots. It's quite a steep climb. We're getting 1,150 feet per minute at the moment, and that's pretty normal. We've got full fuel, we're pretty heavy. 1,200 feet per minute is pretty good. So this would be the configuration I'd be in, and I like to practice an engine failure in the climb because it's probably the most aggressive one to deal with. Because what happens is you've basically got blue line here, which is 89 knots, and red line down here, which is at 76 knots. So blue line being the best rate of climb single engine. So you don't want to be below blue line if you have an engine failure, and we're at 95 and that's at 89. So there's not much speed to lose. So when you do get an engine failure in the climb, you're already slow, you're pitching up fairly steeply, and so it's quite an aggressive effect. It yaws you quite a lot because you're slow. You've got a strong, you're at high power on the engine that's working, you're at max continuous, so you've got a very strong yawing moment from that good engine. You've got a lot of drag from the bad engine. You're already slow, so you don't have much airspeed to lose, so you have to deal with it quite quickly. Otherwise, you're going to get below blue line, and then you'll start approaching red line, and red line is the minimum control speed airborne, and so once you're below red line, you don't have enough rudder authority to counter the yaw. So you've got to get more airspeed, you've got to get more air flowing over the rudder, you've got to get the nose down and get the speed up. So we're passing 5,200 for 8,500. We've got a little bit of time. I like to just remind myself of what to do in the event that we do find ourselves getting in a stall spin, which could happen if we don't manage the situation. So if we get in a stall spin, what's going to happen is it's going to, we're going to get a yawing, we're going to get a strong yaw, we're going to get rolling into that, and it's going to feel like we're in some sort of a out of control spin. What we need to do is follow the acronym, the PAIR acronym. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reduce the power to idle, and so we get the power back. Power creates a pitching moment up, so when you're in a stall spin, you're stalled, your wing's stalled, and you're in a spin. So you need to get that power back, so that you because power throws a lot of air over the horizontal stabilizer, which pitches the plane up. So you don't want to be pitching up more while you're in a stall. I might just level off here for a minute, just so we have a bit of time to have a chat. And
point of approach 7 miles down your right hand side.
And we'll finish off just briefing things before we go into the actual simulated engine failure. So get the power back. Ailerons neutral. So don't try to correct the roll with the ailerons. That would probably be what you naturally want to do. Ailerons neutral. And by the way, I do need to stress that I'm not an instructor. I have no qualification to be teaching anybody anything. Please don't follow my videos as instructional advice. Get your own instructor, get your own advice, and I make these videos just to because I think people find this kind of stuff interesting. I find it interesting to watch other people and how they do it, but please need to stress I'm not an instructor. Anyway, so ailerons neutral, and the reason for ailerons neutral is that if you naturally want to roll out of the turn, but because in a stall spin your wings are already stalled, and the inside wing is stalled more than the outside wing, if you roll, what happens when you roll is if I roll to the right, my right aileron will lift up and my left aileron will drop down. And by the left aileron dropping down, and if I'm in a spin to the left, my left aileron dropping down, my chord angle will basically my angle of attack will increase, and I'm already stalled on the left wing. So it's only going to deepen that stall, and it's going to create less lift and more drag on the left wing. So it's actually going to have the opposite effect. So you definitely don't want to use aileron. You've got to have aileron neutral. So we've got power back, aileron neutral. If we're spinning to the left, we need full right rudder. And the rudders are really heavy in this aircraft and a lot of twins. So you need a huge amount of force from your leg on that right rudder to stop that spinning to the left. And the last thing you need to do is, even though it might feel like you're in a bit of a dive, you actually need to push forward on the elevator to break the stall, to increase the airspeed, to get to unstall the wings, so that you can actually recover and come out of that stall. So that's the PAIR acronym, and that's what we're going to do if we find ourselves in a stall spin. I think it's good to rebrief all of that before attempting any of these kind of manoeuvres, just so that it's right in your mind as to what to do. And the other thing we need to do is we'll do our hassle checks. So our height is good. We're above 3,000. Our aircraft is set up is right for what we're doing. We're going to be in a climb. I'm going to re-enter that climb in a minute, and then we'll do the procedure in the climb. We've only got 2,000 to go to 8,500, so we'll do that in a minute. And so what we're going to do is, what else could we do? Well, we could put we could be a bit more conspicuous. We could put our landing and taxi lights on so that people can see us. We can also put our pumps on, just because I feel like if you are, and I don't know if this is right or not, but in this aircraft, if you're kind of in a spin or in a situation where the forces are not normal, it could be that having the extra fuel pumps on creates that additional fuel pressure that might be required to keep the engines running normal. So I tend to turn them on, but again, I'm not sure what the correct Diamond procedure is for that. Otherwise, aircraft's all set up, T's and P's, engines all in the green. Security, we've got a couple of light items here which I'm comfortable with, and the rest is in the back and fairly secure.
Uniform Juliet Alpha,
and in terms of the location, here's where we are. We're really in the middle of nothing built up. There's no towns around. We've got Leeton out to our left. We've got Griffith behind us if we needed to return. And in terms of a lookout, we've got an excellent visibility all the way around. So we'll do a thorough visual review all the way around. Make sure there's nothing around us. And we'll also have a look on the map here. and just see if there's any traffic on the map. There's no traffic on the map. That would only be transponder aircraft, but that would be, you know, a lot of aircraft would show on there. So no traffic there. So I think we're good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to re-enter the climb now, and then during the climb, I'm going to give myself a simulated engine failure. I'm just going to pull one of the throttles back, and then we're going to run through the checks for that. Now, the procedure is fairly straightforward, and I briefed it on takeoff, but essentially it is fairly aggressive in the climb when you've got a full power climb and you're at sort of 96 knots. So you'll see quite quickly I've got to pitch down, I've got to get a lot of rudder in. You'll see that the ball's way out to the right. It's almost impossible for me to put enough rudder in. It's really hard without the trim, so I'll get trim in when I have time to do that. I'll get the power fully forward, so we'll go beyond max continuous to maximum power, and you'll see this comes up yellow. We'll make sure our gear and flap are away so we don't have too much drag. We'll identify dead foot, verify the dead engine, which will be simulated that, and then we'll follow the checks from there as to what we do next. So let's get this climb going. So we'll bug. We've already bugged 8,500. Let's get the flight level changed to get us up in a fairly steep climb. Just so we can really show how this plays out. So 6.5 climbing to 8.5. Everything's in a good position. And normally I'd be on auto. I like to do this. I like to do this on autopilot because that's what I would be on for most of my climbs. So there's no point sort of being ready to go and not having autopilot on because you normally would have autopilot on. Just waiting for that speed to drop back to be closer to the 96 that I've bugged for the flight level change. We've got our heading bugged. Alright, we're at 7.5, 8.5 now. We'll just wait till the speed drops back a little bit more. Critical engine is left engine on this, so why don't we just fail the left. Alright, we're at 96 now. Let's simulate an engine failure. So power would go. I'd have to get the autopilot off. You can see the ball is way out to the right. So now I'm going to go full power. I'm going to be checking that my gear is up and my flaps are up. Okay, what's happening? So I've got the ball out to the right here. I need a little bit more rudder. My left foot is dead. Verify with the control here that it's dead. I've verified the left engine's dead. Now I have to decide fix or feather. So I could, and I'm still getting a little bit of climb here, but even with the drag of the left engine. But what I'm making sure is I don't drop below blue line. You see blue line there? There's 89. I'm right on blue line.
Check gear.
So we're just trying to maintain that blue line speed now and getting more rudder in. Because I'm actually I've got time to fix this problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to think about the fix. So fuel, so we're going to look at fuel. So we're going to look at our fuel quantities, okay? Our fuel flow, we've got no fuel flow on the left engine. And we've got fuel pump we can turn on for the left engine, which is already on. And fuel on the left engine I can turn to crossfeed to suck from the right. So let's do that. Air, we can turn our alternate air on in case we've got icing or some sort of blockage. And air, I'd normally cycle the throttle as well just to see if that improves anything. Spark, so now we don't have magnetos, but what we've got is two computers that run the engine. So on the left engine, I'd switch to A, auto, B, auto, and see if that fixes it. I'd also check the circuit breakers just to see if anything funny's going on there. Okay, so that hasn't fixed the problem. So now we need to think about shutting down the left engine to feather it. So left engine, master, off. And when I do that, what I'm going to simulate now is increasing the power here. Because this would simulate moving the drag from... Now what I'm going to do, so that simulates feathering the prop, which would be reduced drag, which is why it now flies a little bit easier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the right engine back to max continuous. And let's see how that looks. So I'm starting to, I can use my rudder, trim a little bit more now. We want to still be maintaining blue line. And we can actually use the this to now give us the blue line. We can actually go to 90. Okay, so I'm using the flight director just to help me with where blue line is. I need a little bit more rudder here, so I'm going to Get a little bit more rudder trim in. There we go. So how does that look? We're at blue line, 90 knots. We're getting 500 feet a minute. And we're at 8,001 climbing to 8,005. So that's all good. Now what I do is I pull the checklist up. Emergency. And I'd say engine failure in flight. If airspeed's below VMCA, that's red line. It's not. We're at blue line. Airspeed